Hi, my name is Santorin from Team Solo Mid, and this is my basic champion guide to Lee Sin. So for solo queue, Lee Sin is really strong at ganking and snowballing the game. So you want to pick this champion if you want to snowball the game from like the beginning. You want to win the game early with the comp you have, or you're just a really strong mechanical player, because Lee Sin is not easy to play. And because I only give him 8 in ganking, because like it's actually quite a lot, because you really rely on hitting your skill shots. You have slant your Q, and you have to be able to wall jump behind them and use your ultimate on them. But the thing is, if you learn these basics, Lee Sin's early game ganks, if you land the Q, that's probably one of the strongest early game junglers in terms of damage. And jungle clearing, I only give him 6 out of 10 because his jungle clear is decent. But the thing is, like, he's decent because he doesn't lose health in the jungle because you have your W, which gives shield, and it also gives you lifesteal. So you don't really take damage in the jungle. But what is bad about it is that he doesn't clear the jungle that optimal. He doesn't clear it fast as stuff like Rek'Sai and Nidalee. So I only give him 6 out of 10 for that. And for solo queue, I give him an OL 7 because I feel like he's really strong early game. He can have a lot of impact, but the later the game goes, his in falls off as a champion because his scale is really bad, and you have to rely on your team to carry you later on in the game. So I would pick Lee Sin in the scenarios where I trust my team enough to carry me through the later stages of the game, or I just simply think that, okay, I'm so good on Lee Sin that I can carry the game from the early game, and when it hits 20 minutes mark, we probably already won the game. So on the same, when you're ganking at level 3, you want to gank where you come in from behind. You can either wall jump behind them, or you can just walk behind them. It depends where in the lane they are. But if you can walk behind them, then you start off with like just going there, pressing E and basic attack them and slowing them down. And then when you're sure you can hit the Q, then you press Q on them, because you want to make sure you land the Q, because if you throw the Q from a max range distance, then they can either dash it, they can jump it, they can flash it, whatever they want to do. But if you're close to them, they don't have the same react timer. And at level 6, you want to also come from behind, then you want to wall jump behind them, and then you want to ultimate them / kick them into the team, and therefore he should die instantly. So Lee Sin is a really good counter jungler because he's always healthy in his own jungle, and because you get an early side stone, you can always take control of his jungle. And then if you can, like, let's say you're against the Ringa will always be low in the jungle, and Lee Sin will always be full health. So if you can see him on a ward, you can always go kill him. Also for early game level 3, some junglers will get really low, and therefore you can take advantage of you having all the health and he has nothing. So team fighting with Lee Sin, you always want to be sort of a peeler as Lee Sin, because you have the shield and you have your ultimate to kick people away. But if you see an opportunity, like if you're playing a really heavy engage comp, then as Lee Sin you can also get the pick. So you can queue onto a person, and then you can wall jump behind another guy, and then you can all the carry into the team. And that's a really huge thing to do. If you can land that in a team fight, get one of the carries into your team, you would probably win every single team fight. So in Lee Sin, well, all junglers in general, you want to start on the opposite side of your bot lane, because you want to give bot lane the either Grump or Golem. So if you're blue side, you want to start on top side, so you start on Grump. You get a leash from your top lane, and after Grump you do blue buff, and then you run straight to red buff. When you've killed all 3 camps, you're level 3, and then you should look to gank either bot lane or mid lane. And if none of those are gankable, you can always just take the skull, and then you can go back to the jungle and farm up. So a tip on Lee Sin is, like, normally as a jungler, when you're back the first time, you always buy a sweeper. But on Lee Sin, I feel like the trinket ward is really efficient, because it gives you another escape path. And you always have your trinket up, so you can always wall jump. So what I do is I first sell my trinket ward when I get my side stone, so I make sure I always have wards I can jump to escape if I get caught or I want to engage the team fight. So on Lee Sin you do 80 coins and 80 reds because he scales really well with 80, and you do armor yellows because you need armor in the jungle to efficiently like clean the camps. And also when you hit level 3, you want to either attack the jungler you want to gank, and therefore you need some resistances. And that takes CDR blues or magic resist. It depends if they have magic damage on their comp. If they have magic damage in their team, then I always do magic resist. But if they have no magic damage threats, if they are full 80 comp, then doing CDR blues is really efficient on Lee Sin. On Lee Sin I do 21-9-2 masteries because as a Lee Sin you want to be really offensive in the early game, and you want to be as aggressive as possible. So you want to have as much damage, and you want to have the fastest clean. And later on in the game it doesn't matter how tanky you are, because you do all this stuff in the early game. So on Lee Sin you start with Q because you want to do the maximum damage. Second you take W because W gives you more sustain in the jungle. And third you take E. After that you max Q, and then you can max E, but for me I max W second, because I feel like the shield is really big, and also you get more lifesteal when you proc your second W. But some people really like to carry the game from only early game, therefore they take points in E, because then you do more damage overall. So for Lee Sin, you always want to do the Warrior enchantment jungle item. I personally like Blue Smite because Blue Smite makes you chase down the enemy, but also you can do Red Smite if you really want to do early skirmishers, and you can do Pearl Smite if you really want to farm. And after that, you get your Side Stone because Side Stone is really, really good in Lee Sin because you can wall jump and you can get a lot of vision. And after that, if you're really far ahead, I would personally, if you're against AP threats and you are ahead, then I would do Hexstring because Hexstring gives you a lot of AD and also magic resist, and the shield is really, really nice when it procs. But if you're just even and you feel like you just want to be the tank that your team needs, then you can do. It really depends if you're versus mainly magic resist or AD damage. So if you're against a lot of AP, then you should do Logit first, and if you're against a lot of AD, you should do Randoms first, and after that you do the opposite. So if you're against a lot of AD, you take the randoms first, then you do the Login. And if you're against a lot of AP, you take the Login first, and then you do randoms. And after that, if you're against mainly AD, you should probably get a Fawn Mail because Fawn Mail is really good against AD. But if they have a really huge magic resist heavy composition, you should probably get a Banshees to make sure you have enough sustain. And after that, personally, I like if you're by then you already have 6 items. So what I normally do is that I would probably sell my Blue Smite and then I would get a Bloodthirst or something like that to just optimize my build. Thanks for watching this guide. Make sure to watch the rest of my guides on lolclass.com. Of her spearing and her healing. So since Nilly has such a fast jungle clearing, then she also is really good at counter jungling. And normally the first time you can counter jungle is around level 3 because you'll most likely be full health, whereas the other jungle would probably be 4 to